In the last episode, we heard the story of the death of bluegrass singer Roy Lee Centers at the hands of Bill Hearst in the early morning of May 2nd, 1974. That morning, Bill Hearst was placed under arrest. 4 days later, on May 6th, Bill's girlfriend at the time, Geraldine, was arrested as well, charged with accessory to murder before the fact. 3 days after that, on May 9th, Geraldine and Bill got married. Well, Dale Bryant was assigned to serve as prosecutor, and Dale was a friend of the Hearst family, including being a lawyer for Bill's mother. Now, initially he recused himself, obviously due to conflict of interest, but 2 days later, he changed his mind. Another family friend of the Hearst family was chosen to be the judge, Judge Douglas Graham. He was disqualified from the case on August 19th, but in spite of the disqualification, he was allowed to choose his replacement. He chose Judge Ralph Walter from the neighboring Morgan County. Now, Judge Walter ordered the jury to return a not guilty verdict in Geraldine's case right away, in spite of significant evidence that Geraldine had not played a passive role in the incident whatsoever that resulted in Roy Lee's death. And that is how the murder trial of Roy Lee Centers had all begun. On the witness stand, Bill claimed to be good friends with Roy Lee. He claimed in the early morning of May 2nd, when Roy Lee entered his house to get gas, Roy Lee had hit on his girlfriend, then relieved himself in a planter. Bill said he fired a shot in the air to scare Roy Lee in leaving the house, and Bill said he simply drove to the end of the driveway to ask his friend if he'd cooled off by now. Then he stated that Roy Lee got in the truck voluntarily. Bill said the gun wasn't on the dash of the truck, but in the purse of Geraldine. Now, no other witness that evening recalled Geraldine having a purse. Regarding what happened to Roy Lee, Bill remembered striking Roy Lee in the face and accidentally shooting him in the leg. But that's all he remembered. It was at that point Bill said he blacked out and didn't remember anything else. And Geraldine, of course, corroborated the story of Bill. 12-year-old Lenny was next. He was instructed to answer only yes or no to questioning, and Lenny was not allowed to provide a testimony of events of what occurred that evening. The judge ordered the 12 members of the jury to either find Hearst guilty of murder, guilty of manslaughter, or not guilty if they believed he acted in self-defense. Now, 9 of the juries voted guilty, 2 voted manslaughter, and 1 voted not guilty. After further deliberation, the jury finally settled on voluntary manslaughter. Some jury members who voted guilty of murder said the only reason they switched their votes was to ensure that Bill Hearst would at least get charged with something. Bill Hearst was sentenced to 10 years. In the final video of the Roy Lee Centers murder, we're going to find out if Roy Lee gets any justice.